A PNP is a pediatric nurse practitioner.
We can diagnose, treat, prescribe, just like a doctor would, but with the touch of a nurse.
Kids A to C with the PNPs. Gear for growth and development.
Hi everyone, welcome to Kids A to Z with the PNPs.
Where each week we take a closer look at some of the common health problems affecting our kids.
We're your hosts. I'm Dominique.
And I'm Courtney. And today, we're going to talk about the letter G.
And G is for growth and development.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big topic. I think we're going to start with growth.
In general, growth is a good indicator of your child's nutrition and well-being. It's a pretty predictable measure of how they're growing. Usually, children grow in spurts, the biggest spurts happening from your infancy to toddler years, and then again in your adolescent years.
Yeah, so good nutrition is definitely, obviously important in healthy growth. If you are worried that your child is not gaining enough weight or is gaining too much weight, those are causes for concern. So if you're worried that your child is not gaining enough weight, typically what I recommend, you can buy at your grocery store. Pediatric has all the calories and extra fats that your child may need to help them catch up in their weight gain. Also, Pediatric can be expensive. Something that I recommend to my patients is Carnation instant breakfast. It's like a powder that you can mix in milk, and like the chocolate flavor tastes just like chocolate milk, and it's got like all their vitamins, minerals, extra calories that they would need.
And if your child is tracking above their curve, your doctor may be concerned that they're overweight. And that then they might recommend, a healthier diet and incorporating a more active lifestyle, depending on where they're plotting on their curve.
So good nutrition is always important throughout all aspects of life, but especially in the childhood years because there's so much brain development that happens, especially in the infant and toddler stages.
So if you have any concerns about your child's growth, talk to your pediatrician, and this is why those well visits, even if you have a healthy child, are so important so they can keep track of how your child or infant is growing.
Yeah. So I think we're going to move on to development a little bit. Development is a big topic and it varies from stage to stage. So we would be here all day if we talked about normal development. So basically what we're going to go through is the red flags or when you should worry about your child's development at various stages. So if you have a child in any of these age groups at home, just kind of make a mental note, check, 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 my child does this, my child doesn't do this, and listen up.
And I think it's important to note that every child in development can be different. Some children walk at 8 months of age and some don't walk until they're 15 months of age, and this is normal.
And it's important to note that if at any point your child is no longer doing something that they used to be able to do, that is a red flag. Any kind of developmental regression or moving backwards is something you definitely need to bring up to your pediatrician. So for this list, we're kind of going to break it down by different stages of development, and we're going to read off some red flags or things that you should be concerned about. And I'm hoping we can get some of these popping up on the screen for you so you can make a mental note. So we will get started with red flags at 2 months. So if your child is 2 months of age, they are not responding to loud noises. They don't track or watch things as they move. They don't smile at people or have a social smile. They don't bring their hands to their mouth. They can't hold their head up when they're on their tummy. Talk to your pediatrician.
Red flags at 4 months. If your baby can't hold their head steady without support, doesn't coo or make sounds, doesn't push their legs when their feet are pushed on a hard surface, or has trouble moving one or both of their eyes in any direction.
Red flags at 6 months of age. If your baby does not try to reach for objects that are within their reach, they don't show affection for their caregivers, they don't respond to sounds around them, they don't make the vowel sounds like ah, a, o, u, they don't roll over in either direction, front to back or back to front, they don't laugh or squeal, or if your baby seems stiff with very tight muscles, or conversely, if your baby seems very floppy.
Red flags at 9 months are if your baby doesn't bear weight on their legs with support, they don't sit with help, they don't babble, They don't recognize their own name, or they don't look where you point. Also, if they don't recognize a familiar person or doesn't transfer objects from one hand to another hand.
Red flags at 1 year: if your child can't crawl or scoot themselves across from one place to another, if they can't stand with support, if they can't say single words like mama or dada, if they don't point at objects, and if they don't use gestures like waving or shaking their head.
Red flags at 18 months: if your child doesn't point to try to show you something, they don't know what familiar things are used for, they don't copy others, they don't gain new words, doesn't notice or care when a caregiver leaves the room, and then can't say at least 6 words.
At 2 years, if your child doesn't use 2-word phrases like drink milk, doesn't know what to do with common things like a fork, a spoon, a telephone, they don't follow simple instructions, or if at 2 years they don't walk steadily.
Red flags at 3 years: if your child falls down a lot, can't do stairs well, has very unclear speech, can't speak in full sentences, can't work simple toys or understand simple instructions, doesn't want to play with other children or toys, and doesn't make eye contact.
Red flags at 4 years: if your child can't jump in place, they have trouble scribbling, they show no interest in playing pretend or make-believe, they ignore other children outside of their own family, they resist dressing, sleeping, or using the toilet, they can't retell a favorite story, and they don't follow 3-part commands, such as go upstairs, get dressed, come back downstairs. They don't understand same and different, and they can't use the words me and you properly.
Red flags at 5 years of age: if your child doesn't show a wide range of emotion, or they have extreme behavior, unusually shy, angry, aggressive, fearful, or sad. They are easily distracted and can't focus on an activity for more than 5 minutes at a time. They don't respond to people, or only respond very superficially. They can't tell what's real and what's make-believe, and they can't tell you their first or last name. They don't use plural or past tense correctly. They don't talk about their daily activities or experiences. They don't draw pictures, or they can't brush their teeth, wash their hands, or get dressed by themselves.
So at each well child visit, your pediatrician will assess for these things and let you know if something is wrong. It's important to note, though, that the sooner these things are discovered, the better the outcome is for the child. So the quicker we can get things in place, therapies or whatever they need, the more likely your child will catch up in their development.
And it's also important to note that premature infants may develop at different stages or follow their own curve of growth and development. So keeping that in mind if your baby was born prematurely.
Yeah, so bottom line is parents know their child best. You're the ones that are with them day in and day out. So if you have any concerns, make sure you bring it up to your pediatrician. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to give us a like, a share, comment below, or you can email us at kidsa2z@dmc.org. We'd love to hear from you.
I think that wraps up everything for our growth and development segment. Next week is the letter H, and we are talking about headaches next week.
We'll see you then.
Thanks for watching.